Kolby is a curious and active 9-year-old with many interests.
He loves to hunt, fish, ski, canoe, anything he can get away with.
Kolby enjoys everything outside. He's definitely an outside guy.
But when Kolby was 7, his mother Amy noticed something was wrong. So it was off to the doctor, twice.
And they said that it was just growing pains. And they x-rayed him, but they didn't x-ray him high enough. So a year later, he was still complaining, and I worked at a pediatrician's office.
At school, after lunch, I couldn't even walk, and my mama had to come pick me up.
And the doctor I worked for got him an appointment, and he was diagnosed that day, and we came home on crutches.
Kolby was diagnosed with Perthes Disease, a childhood hip disorder that affects the ball part of the hip joint.
So Perthes disease is a mysterious condition in a sense that we don't know what causes it. Also, it's relatively uncommon, so not too many physicians would see a lot of these cases. And because of that unfamiliarity, we don't really know the best way to treat Perthes. But we do know that blood flow to the femoral head gets disrupted. When there's no blood flow, the bone dies. And as a consequence of that, the femoral head, the affected part, goes through healing process. The problem with it is during that healing, the round shape could be lost. It could become flattened. And if it is flattened and it stays flattened, then a child will be at risk for developing arthritis later in life.
Before settling on a treatment plan, Kolby's mom seeks a second opinion.
So I had the pleasure of seeing Kolby, but unfortunately this was a third opinion. And at this point, mom and child, they were not very happy with how things were going. Also, they weren't fully educated as to the disease and what to expect. So to some extent, they were frustrated.
I didn't like the second opinion, and so we wound up being very lucky and getting to come here, and I'm very satisfied, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Kolby's doctors at Scottish Rite Hospital put him in a Petri cast. This is a long leg cast with a bar that keeps the legs in a position similar to the letter A.
Petri casting achieves the goal of resting the hip, increasing the coverage of the hip to try to restore the round shape of the femoral head. And this was instituted for about 6 weeks, and he's done well with that. And to further assess his hip, we obtained x-rays as well as this very specialized MRI called perfusion MRI. This technique was pioneered at Scottish Rite, and we use it to really evaluate the hip fully in terms of the inflammation, how the shape of the head is looking, as well as how much of the blood flow and healing has occurred.
What I missed the most was that I couldn't do any activities outside and having to film with my friends outside.
And after the Petri cast, back in a wheelchair, from a wheelchair to crutches, from crutches to a little boy running wild around again.
As you can see, Kolby is back in action.
And the Perthes disease is now behind him, and he's able to move forward and participate like a normal child in all the activities that he wants to do.
Don't get down when you have Perthes because you can't do anything. Just have fun.
I'm just very thankful that we got to come out here and he got to receive the best possible treatment that we could ever ask for.